I got it.
What?
This campground was so disappointing and so bad, and our experience there with the management of this campground was so disappointing, it made us want to leave the campground and stay gone from the campground.
That is a good positive thing about that campground.
Every day that we were there.
Hey folks, it's Mike and Angel with Retro RV Recon. And today we have a video about a disappointing campground.
Our first one.
Our first video about a disappointing campground.
It's taken us a while to put this one together for you guys. And what are your thoughts about that campground?
I don't want to ever go back.
I don't ever want to go back either. And we don't want you to go. So
Nope.
If we had found a video like the one we're about to share with you, we wouldn't have reserved it.
We'd have found another place to stay.
We would have found another place to stay.
And it didn't damper our trip that much, but we would have had a better place to stay.
Yes.
So that disappointing campground, Michael, is what?
Raptor Ranch.
Raptor Ranch.
Raptor Ranch.
Raptor Ranch.
It's located,
RV
yes.
campground.
Raptor Ranch is in between Williams, Arizona and the Grand Canyon.
Yes.
If you look at it on the
Grand
map,
Junction.
yes, if you look at it on the map, it's located at Grand Junction.
And we are positive people. We have a positive outlook on life, and it takes a whole lot to upset us, right?
Yes.
We've racked our brains and tried to come up with a way that we can present this negative experience in a positive light, and we're struggling with it because so we're going to do our best to share with you what it was like for us at
Raptor Ranch.
Raptor Ranch RV Park.
Raptor Ranch.
And
Raptor
we
Ranch.
can honestly say
Just say no.
we would not recommend this campground
Raptor
to
Ranch.
anyone.
No.
We do not want you to stay there, and we're going to tell you
No.
all of the reasons why.
There are better places.
Much better places.
Okay, so
All right, here we go.
here we go.
And understand, when you show up at a campground at 7:30 in the afternoon,
I think it was closer to 7. We showed up.
well, close to sunset, you want to back in, you want to get hooked up, and you want to be able to
Just
relax
rest.
long enough. So like, okay,
Unwind.
here's what we're
From
going
the
to do in the morning. All right, everybody, yay, we're here. We didn't have any of that because it
No,
was...
we didn't. We spent probably a good hour and a half waiting for this person to find a solution.
to rectify
We
the
couldn't
problem.
park either one of our campers at that point because we
didn't know.
we
what
wanted
we were
our
doing.
reservation to be honored, which was side-by-side campers with our
Full
son and his
hookups.
family, full hookups. And it turns out there were very limited amount of hookups. I think there were maybe 5.
There's 5 of them, and it's sites 1 through 5.
And y'all, this is so upsetting to me what happened next. The woman went into the office to say, work her magic is what she was trying to appease us with. In the meantime, we're tired and the kids are tired and we're all standing around our rigs just waiting. She didn't invite us in the office at all. She pretty much left us standing in the parking lot, went inside to get on her computer, and she moved people around. So you got a fully booked campground with one opening, which was one of the ones that we reserved. All right. So imagine this. She asked another camper to leave their spot and go in the one that we had open, the one that we had reserved that was still open. And then she put us side by side right outside the bathroom. The person who got asked to move to make room for us was very angry with us.
Yes.
Because the management did not go and have a conversation with that person in person. In fact, opted to just call them up while they were out and about enjoying their
And say,
day,
we have to move you.
enjoying their evening, and say, we're moving you. You have to move. So when you get back, we need you to move from this spot to that spot. Well, they had been there for a few days already. They were completely set up in their spot
So,
and very understandably upset.
in a nutshell, management rented one of our spots to somebody that was going to stay there for a month.
So we did not get our spots.
So we didn't get our
Either
two
one
spots.
of them.
And what management did was they moved this family that had been there a couple of days over 2 spots so they could put us side by side with full hookups.
Instead of moving the one that they gave our spot to, who intended to be there for a month, they moved someone who was, you know, a few days into their stay at the campground. And
I know we're beating a dead horse, but
poor management, guys.
Here's the problem.
Oh my gosh,
here's
poor
the
management.
problem. They did not honor the reservation.
No, they did not. They didn't. Not only did they not honor our reservation, but the camper that was already set up in there for a couple of days got asked to move, so their reservation was not honored either, right? Because they paid for that spot, and now they were asked to move to a different spot.
So I'm thinking that the management of Raptor Ranch RV Park are not RVers. They are not campers.
No.
For them to not understand how confusing and how
upsetting
and just frankly, it's, you know, it's kind of crappy.
It is, and
so
the most disturbing thing out of all of it is they did not even call us to tell us, oh, by the way, we're giving your spot away. Do you mind a different spot? Or there's someone here wanting your spot. We're going to have to move you. Or we overbooked. They didn't, no explanation whatsoever. Left us to show up after what was a wonderful day and just, you know, we got there and saw for ourselves that we didn't have a spot. Somebody else had our spot.
All of this
was management's issue, not someone trying to steal our spot, not someone just
all
setting
of this
up.
was because management wanted that 1 monther.
Yes.
In there.
Yes.
That's it. And they're like, well,
they did never inconvenience the 1 monther.
Never
the
thinking,
1 monther never had to leave the spot that they weren't supposed to have to begin with.
I would rather that the management have the integrity to lose $40 in a month.
Exactly.
Short term, rather than potential sales long term.
Right.
Because
so
we'll never go back.
We'll never go back, and the campers that were asked to move will never go back.
They'll probably never go back.
And they will probably, you know, spread the word of what happened to them and their experience at that campground. So they're going to lose business there. In addition,
so
we're putting out this video because we don't want you to get there after a wonderful day experience or traveling on the road looking forward to Grand Canyon the next day and have to go through what we did.
Right.
The whole ordeal put us probably 10 o'clock at night before we were able to get in bed and go to sleep, knowing that we were going to get up bright and early the next morning to hit the Grand Canyon. So yeah, how upsetting was that? That was a horrible, horrible thing to do.
So another thing that we want to mention is this wasn't just that one incident. It was several other things.
Oh my gosh.
So the
way the
campsites were set up is we have, of course, you guys know we have a 25-foot retro, and where our site was, if we would have backed it up, well, I'll tell you what. Our son backed his camper up in his spot.
His was a fifth wheel,
35 feet.
35 feet.
And when he opened his door and stepped down off of his stairs, at the foot of his stairs, about 3 to 4 feet away, was the next camper's
I don't think it was 3 or 4.
And then their sewer ran right across. They had to be careful not to step on
trip over
their
the
neighbor's
sewer line. Their neighbor's sewer line coming out of their camper down the stairs.
So,
it was disgusting.
Yeah, it was. The sites were close, and the sewer was. The sewer line. The sewer connections and all of the hookups are up against this wall.
Mm-hmm.
So if you have a fifth wheel, you have to run your sewer line a good ways out. Well, that's what was happening.
Yeah.
I don't even think John. Yeah. So the connections are horrible.
Every time.
The size of the pads of the sites are horrible.
There was no pad. It was just gravel.
Yeah, there is no pad.
No pad. There was no distinction from one spot to the other. It was all just gravel. The whole parking spot was gravel. So there was no way of telling where your spot was and the other person's spot began. And every single time our son and his family came down the steps of their RV, they were faced with the sewer line from the person on the other side of them. And
we had actually parked our RV at an angle. We had actually backed it in to the side so that it was parallel with the wall and the road, and that gave us a common area where our son's camper, he pulled in this way and backed up his camper to the wall. So the way we had it set up, his sewer lines were kind of off to the side, but we had a common area. We actually moved his picnic table, which would have been jammed up in between two campers.
By the sewer line.
We put the two picnic tables in front of our camper side by side, so we would have a place to sit and congregate.
If we had not parked parallel with the wall, we wouldn't have a common area.
No.
Except for over the sewer hoses. So
But-
that was, to me, I wish we had taken a photo so we could show you how horrible it was. But we were so upset. We were so thoroughly disgusted with the whole experience. Taking photos was the last thing, but now we've learned.
Yes.
We've learned that we will do a campground review, good or bad, no matter what. because
Every
people need to
campground
know.
we go to, we will review it, and we will give an honest review. We're not,
like this one is very honest. This was our experience
yes,
there.
it was very disappointing.
Very disappointing because
So-
it was the longest day that we had on our trip, on our vacation.
So, the Raptor Ranch RV campground was such a disappointment that we stayed away from the campground more than we expected.
We were there as little. We didn't want to go there in the afternoons after hiking at the Grand Canyon or after visiting.
Yeah. Because, typically when you go to a campground, it's a nice campground. Maybe you want to go back to the campground and everybody gets together and you barbecue, you grill, you get together, you laugh, you tell stories.
Who wants to do that while you're standing over a sewer hose? And especially someone else's sewer hose. It's not even your own sewer hose.
Yes, and then, we have the guy two sites down that's still mad
angry
at
all
us
the
because
time.
we took his spot.
Yeah, I mean,
or at least that his spot was given to us.
And rightfully so. He had every right to be upset. Now, if we speak to management over these RV parks, we understand that occasionally things are going to happen. But Raptor Ranch did nothing to correct it. They didn't apologize for what had happened. They didn't try to make it right in any way.
They didn't give us any notification.
No notification. No apologies about not getting a notification. They just kind of acted like we don't know what happened.
So now, with all of that being said, here's what Angel and I did before we reserved this place. We looked online.
We did.
We looked on YouTube to try to find a good RV park in the area, one that was centrally located so we can go to Williams or maybe go to Flagstaff and then still be able, be close enough to the Grand Canyon to get there early and beat the traffic. So Grand Junction or Raptor Ranch, we thought was ideal, but nobody had videos of the place to show it. Whenever you search Raptor Ranch, they talk about the Falcon experience. They talk about the little
the Bedrock.
The Bedrock place.
Nostalgic.
There's
part
hardly
of the property.
any real reviews of Raptor Ranch.
Well, we couldn't find
campground.
any. We couldn't find any, so we went with the nostalgic feeling of Bedrock.
Yeah.
We went with its proximity to Grand Canyon and also Williams, which we wanted to visit.
Yeah.
And it was the first one we reserved without doing a thorough reading of reviews of this campground.
The reviews that I read focused on the Falcon exhibit.
Yeah.
They focused on the Bedrock Flintstones themed park in the back.
Right. And still to now, even, from when we reserved those spots to past our vacation, we still can't find a good video showing the RV park itself. And my feeling is no one else wants to review it either, right? That's why there's no footage of it, because it's that bad. So
we're going to
try.
From that point on, we realized, it was actually a few days later, we realized we should have done a drive-through.
Yes.
That way we could show you
how bad it was.
Yes.
Yeah. So we do regret that, and we've since decided no matter how bad it is, we will get photos, we will get footage, and we will share the bad along with the good. So just know we cannot recommend you stay at Raptor Ranch. In fact, we recommend you find another place.
Yes.
Visit Bedrock, because we did, and we're going to show you that later.
That's fun.
And if you are into the Falcons or falconry, that was interesting for about a minute. And then so find someplace else to stay.
There, and think months in advance. You could reserve places inside of the Grand Canyon National Park.
Yes, that would be a much better choice. Let us know if you've had a bad stay anywhere, not just Raptor Ranch. Of course, if you've had a bad experience there, let us know. But yeah, so you know what those bad days are like.
Yep.
Right? We need to share this information with each other, which is why Michael and I decided we have to get this on film. We have to share it. Now that we've explained all the reasons why we had a disappointing experience at Raptor Ranch, let's move on to the fun stuff, right? Lake headed to Petrified Forest, which was
An hour away. It's
An
an
hour
hour
away.
drive from Lyman Lake to the south entrance of the Petrified Forest.
and oh my gosh, it was so beautiful.
It was very pretty.
It was
Very
so
pretty.
beautiful. I'm so glad we stopped there on our way to Grand Canyon.
So after we had lunch, we jumped on Interstate 40 and drove over to Meteor Crater.
Meteor Crater, how cool is that?
It was very cool.
This huge parking lot, and you know they're prepared for campers to show up, so we didn't have any problem parking the RV, and our son didn't either. We went into the building, watched a short little 7-minute video. How the Meteor Crater came to be. It was formed. So we highly recommend you watch the little video first, especially if you have children with you, before you actually walk out and take a look at the crater. Because to me, it made it a more rich experience for the children. I recommend you do that first. So then we left the auditorium, stepped out to look at the crater.
Very windy. It was just a
Michael
nice
lost his
experience.
hat.
And yeah, Waylon picked it up. And you know, we just spent about a good 30 minutes out there, and then
We walked down to the lower platform where the overlook is out over the crater. So you get when you're standing on that platform, you get the feel of how expansive the crater is, which you really can't see that from the top. From the top, it's impressive. But when you go down to that lower level and walk out onto the overlook, it's so expansive.
yeah,
And
in the crater.
yeah, and we took some photos there so you can see that. Okay, so we loaded back up.
Loaded back up,
And
jumped
headed
back on
towards the Grand
Interstate
Canyon.
40, and then drove through Flagstaff, which is a very bumpy and unpleasant drive on Interstate 40.
Yeah, I remember that.
And it was unpleasant all the way to Williams. The interstate was well, it's just a rough road, and then you pull on the camper, so you feel it back there.
First thing we did was
The Grand Canyon.
the Grand Canyon. So we got up early.
Yes, and drove for about 25 to 35 minutes. I don't remember exactly how long it was, and we got to the entrance between 8 and 9, and we had just a short 5-minute wait, and we went right on in.
We used our America First Pass, which got us in for free.
Yeah.
And y'all, you know, we've mentioned that before. We paid $80, right, Michael?
Yes.
For a 1-year pass, and we used it on our vacation more than, I would say, 4 times.
More than $80.
Yeah, more than paid for itself. Just to get in the Grand Canyon alone would have been $35 per vehicle, and it didn't cost us anything. We showed our pass, they waved us on through.
And we went to the Grand Canyon 2 times.
Well, actually 3, but
yes, we went through 3 times. That's right.
Yeah. And if you've never been to Grand Canyon, we highly suggest you take the red line, because you can get on and off. The tram comes by about every 15 minutes, but you can see a different view of Grand Canyon than what you see as like the iconic photos of Grand Canyon. Most of those photos you see online come from Mather Point, and that's, if you think about it, that's where the tour buses stop and unload at Mather Point. So that's where the touristy crowds are.
That's where the crowds are.
That's where the crowds are. So especially in the summertime. So if you're looking for a more pleasant, low-key, not rushed kind of experience,
yes,
take the red line to Hermit's Rest. Jump on and off the tram as often as you want to, and see, you know, multiple different points. I think there's maybe 4 or 5 along that leg of the South Rim. There was one section we went to a point and we walked to the next one, right, Michael? We hiked along the South Rim Trail right on the edge of the Grand Canyon. And when I say on the edge, it was on the edge. It was very close. It was like a death drop in some place. So yeah, we did that. We got to Hermit's Rest, had a quick little lunch. They do sell a little bit of concession type stuff there, ready-made sandwiches and snacks and chips and drinks and stuff like that.
We sat down and relaxed for a little bit, and then hopped on the tram and went back to the car.
Mm-hmm. What did you think, having never seen Grand Canyon before? What did you think of the Grand Canyon?
Well, honestly, after I wiped the tears from my eyes, because I've never seen anything so pretty. I'll tell you, probably the most memorable part of it when we first got out there is we were walking out on this, what you might want to call a ridge. So there was Grand Canyon on this side, there was Grand Canyon on this side, and there was Grand Canyon in the front. I didn't know where to look. You think you want to, you know, like when you're looking at a beautiful flower or a beautiful wife, you know what to look at. But when you get out there, it's just 360 degrees or 240 degrees of beauty, and you just don't know where to look. It's like, look at this.
You're trying to soak it all
I want to look at this. I want to look at this.
Yeah. Yeah.
We will definitely go again. We won't stay at Raptor Ranch, but we will definitely go again.
We're not staying at Raptor Ranch ever again. And
But
if anyone asks us about it, we're going to tell them the truth about that. But y'all, the Grand Canyon.
If you haven't been, you need to go.
It is a bucket list destination. You need to go. You need to take your children.
Yes.
Before they're grown and
yes.
gone.
If you take your children very young, they'll go again when they're older.
As adults and bring their children.
But it's.
We left the park and had dinner at the very delicious pizza place.
Yeah, I forgot the name of the pizza
It's
place.
okay, I took a photo of it.
Sweet cooked pizza.
It was like a sentence in the title.
Yeah. So anyway.
Yeah. Highly recommend their pizza. That was delicious.
The other places in that little town right there, they're tourists. They charge tourist prices, but this particular pizza place did not. It was, You know,
It was
a decent
reasonable.
price.
Yeah.
And the food was good.
Yeah.
We were talking about, so we really didn't want to stay at the campground, so we stayed out later than usual. Now the following morning, Angela and I left before the sun came up, and our intent was to drive back over to Desert View and take photographs of the sunrise, photographs and the experience of the sunrise over the east end of the Grand Canyon. So we did that. It was really nice. It was really beautiful.
Talk about that drive, Barry. It was not daylight yet when we left the nasty
No,
campground.
it wasn't daylight, and we were driving down the road, and I wasn't in a rush, but I was, you know, I had a lot on my mind,
It was 3 a.m.
and driving down the road, not speeding, driving down the road, looked like two trees just were right on the side of the road, and really it was a deer with a humongous rack.
Yeah.
And it was so
huge.
big. The deer was so big.
It stood
The
as
rack
tall
was
as a
so
truck.
massive. I didn't know what it was at first, and it scared the bejeez out of me.
Yeah, because it's still dark. You got your headlights on, and then all of a sudden, it's right there.
Yes. So anyway,
As tall as our truck.
we made that 45-minute drive from our camper over to Desert View, and of course, as you'll see in the videos, we had a really nice.
Oh, yeah, the whole point to ourselves. Beautiful. Michael got lots of beautiful photos that if you stay tuned to the end, we're going to share some of those with you.
Yes. Now, our family decided the other end of our vacationers decided to go hiking, and I think it was Angel Trail.
Angel Bright Trail.
Angel Bright Trail. So they hiked down there and then back, and then
4 little ways and
yeah.
turned around and came back.
And a little bit somewhere, I guess somewhere around noon. You know, we had all of us had our fun, and we decided we really didn't want to stay at the campground because there was, you know, it's a very unpleasant place.
There was no place to sit and
There's
enjoy
no place to gather and enjoy.
talking about what we had done that day.
Yeah.
It was you know, without being right on top of somebody's sewer hose, which we talked
Yeah,
about.
so we decided to go to Williams, Arizona.
Go explore Williams,
Yeah.
which was how
Which
far
is-
away? About an hour.
It's not even that. It's about another 35 minutes away. It's
Okay.
where you got some Route 66.
Oh,
well,
yeah.
actually, it is Route 66, and there's a bunch of shops. Shops,
Yeah.
restaurants.
right
Just-
on Route 66.
It's
Right?
really a fascinating place to visit.
Oh, we had fun in Williams.
We had a lot of fun. We had a lot more fun in Williams than we
Quirky
expected.
little shops and just walking up and down the sidewalk and
We went
in
in
and
this
out of the
one
stores.
diner. We went in this one diner that was so cool. We walked in, and Angel and I sat down, and I said, "Angel, this looks like our camper."
It looks like our camper. I'm sure that whoever designed our camper has been in that very little cafe, right?
Yeah.
And so I'm so glad we took a photo
Yes,
share
the
that with
checkered
y'all.
floor,
Right.
the red seats.
Yeah, it was fun. And
We took
really
some
had
photos. Yeah, we had a lot of fun. We tried on hats and all the souvenir shops. The whole place is a souvenir place, just souvenirs.
fun. And old cars. There were a bunch
Yeah,
of old cars along
old
the
signs,
street.
road signs too.
Yeah. So that was fun. Well, all the kids had a bottle like back in the day, a bottled soda.
Yeah, we had a little. Looks one
Dr.
of those
Peppers,
old
Coca-Colas.
5-cent return bottles.
Yeah, so we had a great time there, and
Yeah, so we spent most of the afternoon there, and by the time we went back to
trying to stay away from the campground.
by the time we went back to Raptor Ranch, it was getting close to dark.
Yeah.
And we had sat outside for a little while, admiring everybody's sewer hoses, and
One thing that Raptor Ranch Campground taught us is we will always record or get footage and photos of our experience, a site walk around, a drive through the campground, a site walk around of every single campground we visit, good or bad.
since Angel and I have been doing this,
Yeah.
there's been a few times we thought we're not going to record this.
Because it would be a bad review.
Actually, we've recorded some of them, but just haven't
We
published
haven't
them.
shared them.
Yeah, we haven't shared them.
But guys, what we learned is we wish we would have been able to find online a review that told the truth about Raptor Ranch.
we wouldn't have stayed.
We wouldn't have stayed there because we have yet to find a review of the campground, the Raptor Ranch. And when you go online and search, what do you see, Michael?
You see the falconry.
You see the falconry,
You see
bedrock. You see
Now,
bedrock.
don't get us wrong. Angel and I went into the Bedrock area with the grandkids.
Yes.
And with
That
the
was
family.
a fun thing to
and
do.
It was fun.
It was nostalgic.
It was fun.
They
However,
enjoyed it.
we would have stopped there anyway.
Yes.
If we were just passing by,
Right.
we would have stopped there because it's kind of cool.
It is. It
When
is
I
very
was a kid, I grew up with the
cutesy.
Flintstones.
Yabba dabba doo, right?
Yeah, I grew up with
Oh, did
Flintstones.
I steal your line, baby?
No,
Come on, say it.
Yabba dabba doo.
There we go. And the grandbabies loved Bedrock, all the cutesy little stuff. Little stuff.
Bam, 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 bam.
But we shouldn't have chosen Raptor Ranch RV Park because that was a bad decision based on very little information that we could
Limited
find online.
information.
Limited information. And the Grand Canyon National Park campgrounds were all full to capacity. They didn't have any spaces to reserve for us to reserve. So we ended up making that choice based on Bedrock and the close proximity of Raptor Ranch to the Grand Canyon and also Williams, Arizona.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
So, but we regretted. We regretted as soon as we arrived. We regretted it, and for reasons we mentioned earlier, we highly recommend you stay inside the Grand Canyon National Park because we did drive through a couple of those campgrounds, and they were beautiful. Right, Michael? It's just
Yes.
unfortunate for us the timing. We couldn't, even though we reserved Raptor Ranch, almost 6 to 8 months in advance. We couldn't get a spot inside the Grand Canyon National Parks because they were all booked.
And the plan was to go back through Williams to get on the road heading north to Page. However, when Angel and I realized that day that we could drive out through the
Grand Canyon National Park.
Yeah,
Through the east entrance. Yes.
We changed up and said, you know what? In the morning,
Good.
let's leave here, go back into the Grand Canyon National Park.
Say goodbye to Grand Canyon on our way out.
And exit through the east entrance, and then we went over to where we stopped and had something.
Cortez.
No, not Cortez is around the range.
We'll put it on the screen.
So anyway, So we had one last, hoorah at the Grand Canyon before we left. We went up to this one little outlook, and we parked the campers and took a couple of photos.
We did. It was beautiful.
Yeah.
So the east entrance is where Desert View is. So we were able to drive by there and get our, Grand Canyon photo with our family.
Yep.
On our way, and our next stop was Page, Arizona.
Page, Arizona.
Lake Powell. So we have a video about that too.
We
if
have
you want
a
to check
very,
that out.
very nice video on Lake Powell and Wauwee Campground. And there's even the drive from the Grand Canyon over to Page, Arizona was beautiful.
Beautiful. Yeah, we have a scenic drive footage of that.
If you haven't seen it, look for that video.
Yeah, if you're finding value in the videos that we've shared about our experiences at any campground, if you've had a look around our channel, we would appreciate it if you would go ahead and hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell, and of course because that helps our channel and it helps put our videos out to more people, right? So we are a community of campers and campground reviewers, and if you see the value in that, please join our community. We'd really appreciate that. And let us know what you think.
Yeah.
Comment.
Until then, happy trails.
Happy camping.
Disappointing or not, we are going to record it.
We regret showing you. You got our chickens?
We have chickens.
Well, I was hoping you would say something because I couldn't think of anything.
Give me a minute.
Okay.
Just give me a couple of seconds.
One thing is all we need. One
just
positive thing to say about Raptor Ranch.
Give me a couple of seconds.
Okay.
Give me a couple more seconds. Hey folks, it's Mike
An Angel.
with Retro RV Recon.
Yeah. So out of all 7 campground reviews that we've done from our vacation, the most disappointing one was
Raptor Ranch.
Raptor Ranch. Will we ever go to
Raptor Ranch.
ever again?
No.
Just no, or absolutely not, or no way, or if we know anyone who's going to Raptor Ranch or reserving Raptor Ranch, we'll tell them not to. I think I would rather Boondock, honestly, than Raptor Ranch. Let the chickens do their thing. I guess they're laying eggs.
Maybe we have an egg now.
I guess if I had a flat tire and I was walking and Raptor Ranch was the only place I could go to, I would look far up ahead and see.
I would push my camper down the road.
Maybe I could make it to Will.